everyone. In this month's beauty video from Nordstrom, I'm gonna share with you how I did this whole look, share with you a new spring fragrance that I am really enjoying, and the star of the show has to be this guy, this new Nars Summer Unrated palette. Even the outside is gorgeous. This video is sponsored by Nordstrom. I'm also going to share with you a little bonus tip, how to cover a bruise, because I had my Botox done on Monday, today is Saturday, and I got it done under my eyes to help with those fine lines. And for the first time ever in all the years I've been doing this, I got a pretty good bruise underneath. Actually, I have bruises under both eyes. One is all gone. This one is still pretty terrible. Let me just say, when the doctors tell you not to take ibuprofen the day before you're getting shots, there's a reason why. I did not listen. Anyway, keep watching and you'll see how I go from barefaced and bruised to this. Okay, barefaced except for skincare. We're just gonna jump in. There is that bruise. So I'm gonna start my makeup like I always do, and if I forget to mention exactly what I'm using, everything is always listed down in the description box in the order in which I'm applying it to make it easier for you. And I do have my mirror off to the side here, so if you wonder why I'm glancing over there and not at you, that's why. Also, I'm a little flushed. As I'm filming this, I had just gone on a bit of an Instagram rant, and I was discussing it with my husband, and I was getting a little heated, literally. Like, look at how flushed I am. What's happening here? I always use the Trish McEvoy Instant Eye Lift. It's the lightest shade, doesn't even have a shade on it. It's shade 1. And I'm just gonna pat that in gently to start. And I always use this as an under eye corrector and brightener, even when I don't have a black eye. But as you can see, it does cancel it out a good amount. So we're just gonna leave that alone for now. We will address the bruise separately. I'm going to quickly apply my current favorite foundation, which is the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation, and I have it in the shade Yukon. And I'm just gonna do 2 little pumps there. Oh, it's very runny. Let me just slap this on, I'll be right back. Now I will say, when I normally put on my foundation, I bring it right up under my eyes, but I'm pretty much avoiding this area because I'm going to be applying multiple layers of concealer and powder, and it's gonna get cakey enough without me adding more to it. Although the Nars is very, very lightweight. You saw how runny it was. If I had any left on my brush, I did sweep it in the general area, but I didn't place any directly on there or pull what's on my face up. This is what I've been using all week. This is from MAC, and it is a Pro Conceal and Correct palette. This one is for medium to just medium. This gets to the color wheel. We all know the color wheel, and when you want to conceal or correct something, you pick the opposite color of what is on the color wheel. So the opposite of purpley blue is sort of an orangey, pinky shade, not orangey, yeah, orangey salmon shade. So that's why I've been using this. That's definitely correct. I did go to Nordstrom recently and pick up the shade that I am. This is the light palette, and it's shades NC15, W10, NC20, and NW20, as well as pale yellow and pale pink. So we are going to go, it's brand spanking new. We're gonna go with that. They say this is a pale pink, but to me this is very much a salmon-y shade. And I am gonna warm it up with my finger first. And just, without blending that in, do you see how well it covers? We're just gonna pat that in, and I am going to actually pat it in with a concealer brush. I am just gonna pat this in, pat, 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 more around the edges, because as I pat, it's taking off some of that concealer. So I kind of want to do this in layers and pat a little bit more. I don't want to add too much because it'll just get cakey. If I tilt my head down, it just looks like those eye troughs. So it's better. I'm actually going to go in with a liquid concealer that I normally use under my eyes. I'm gonna pat that on real quick, and then I want you to see what it looks like after. I still think that this shade from the darker palette is slightly better at brightening. It's less pink. I just swatched them both on my hand. So that more orangey shade is from the darker palette, and this really is more of a pink. So I am going to take the darker palette actually, and just go over that concealer, but just really lightly. If I had a red concealer, I think that would be great. That's pretty good. When you see a faint shadow, nothing is going to be perfect. I'm just gonna pat the edges. That melts it in with my finger. I don't normally use the Laura Mercier powder under my eyes, but in this case, I think I want something a little heavier than usual, and just real lightly pat, pat, pat. That's pretty good. As my husband likes to say, good but not great. All right, before we move on to powdering the rest of the face, let me go in with the rest of my cream products. So I finally used up the travel size of the Westman Atelier contour stick, and I got the big guy, and it is significantly larger than the travel size. And what I really like is that the cap that's magnetic really sticks on far better than the little baby one. And I'm just gonna do some easy contouring, draw it down the sides of my nose. I don't normally suck in, but just to kind of show you how I do this. Across the forehead, I'm adding a little bronze, so to speak here. Jawline. Now I'm starting to notice a little jowl here. And then I have a relatively square face. It's not really an oval, so I'm gonna shade down the sides to kind of make my face appear more narrow. And I'm just gonna take a dense brush and kind of pat and blend. Now on the cheeks, I don't pull that down. I want to make sure it's up. I don't want that contour moving much. Now under the jaw, you can definitely pull down. So cheekbones, you basically want to pull up or keep in place. Forehead, you can definitely move it around. You want to make sure it's blended. I don't always do a great job here. Nose, you kind of want to just keep it where it is. Sides of the face too. But the jawline, you can definitely bring it down onto your neck. And I am all sculpted. I think they brought this back. I'm so glad I didn't discard this. This is the Nars bronzing cream. I have it in Laguna, and I did see this recently back on the Nordstrom website. And if you bought this from last year when I talked about it, then you should still have it. Just dipping that same brush in. This is a warmer tone than what I just contoured with, and don't worry, we're gonna blend some more. And I just, see how much darker that is? And this I'll put a little bit lower because I'm trying to just get some bronze there. Blend that in a little bit. I might go back with my foundation brush as well. One more liquid product. I am so glad this is back. This is the Glowgasm, actually that's not what it's called. Is it? Yes, the Glowgasm Beauty Light Wand. I have it in Pink Gasm, and it is such a beautiful cream, really liquidy blush. And I'm gonna put it just on the highest points of my cheek. I don't know why I'm so flushed. I'd say I'm getting a hot flash, but I'm not hot. Just kind of dot it in there. Don't know that I needed to add any pink to my cheeks today, but we're gonna go with it. I still have a little foundation left on my hand. I'm gonna put that in the brush, and then I'm just kind of gonna go over this because I am pretty pink today. What's happening? Just gonna go in with the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. I'm avoiding my under eye because I don't want to knock that powder off. I'm going to go in with another powder, the Makeup Forever Velvet Blurring Powder, with that concealer brush. Just gonna pat it right on top of the bruise. Just give a little more coverage there. I know I just covered up some of that bronze, so I'm going to go in with a powder bronzer, a good old Gucci, and just lightly put some bronzer back. I've just really been enjoying a glowy, brighter colored face lately. So there we go. And highlighter. Sorry, I have all my stuff like spread out all over this table. I have all this pink going on, and I picked this out before I realized my whole face was flushing, but we're just gonna keep going with it. I dug this out of my highlight favorites. It's also from Laura Mercier. It's their Face Illuminator Powder, and I have it in Devotion, and as you can see, it has a little bit of a pink undertone to it, which is going with my whole pink theme. Wait till you see the eyeshadow. And we're just gonna put that on the high points. Now the Pink Gasm has a lot of glowiness to it, so you can skip this step, but I just want it to be very glowy. Let's just go all in. So I'm just gonna gently layer just a little bit. It's not really adding too much color. I could definitely build it up, but it'll make that pink glow stick around for a little bit longer. So I recently actually went into my Nordstrom store. It's funny because I ordered most of what you're seeing online, and then I went in because I felt like getting a new spring perfume, and we're gonna talk about that at the very end. And while I was there, I stopped by the Anastasia Beverly Hills counter. I haven't used their brow products in a very long time. And I saw someone getting their brows done. I was intrigued. Her brows looked amazing. The makeup artist's brows looked amazing. I thought, let's give this another try. So we chatted. They knew what they were talking about. I'm probably gonna go back and make an appointment to actually have them do my brows, like wax them and all the things. I do that about once every few years just to kind of get them in line, and then I'll maintain them on my own. But I haven't used Anastasia Brow Wiz in a super, super long time, and I picked up the Brow Wiz in taupe, and I picked up their brow pen, also in taupe. She said for a really perfect brow, you should use both, but you should also, she sculpts. Like she sat there and did all the things with concealer. So I'm gonna try and attempt that, and then we're gonna do an eye. So first I'm just gonna brush my brows. I guess I don't need the brow spoolie because there's one on the Brow Wiz. And I'm just gonna take my pencil, do little flicks. Pencil really for filling in bigger gaps, and then the pen to kind of add those hair-like strokes, especially here at the tail where I'm basically creating a whole new eyebrow where there wasn't one. Do you see how this shade matches so much better than the pencils I've been using lately? This is why you go to Nordstrom. They will hook you up with the right stuff. That's pretty amazing. And then just to add some more lifelike hairs on the side, brand new. So, oh wow, right out of the gate. It's got pigment, so just flicking in some hairs. I'm impressed. I am very impressed. She did ask me if I needed a new brow gel, and I said, well, I still have my Kosas Air Brow, and she said, oh, that's a good one, stick with that. So let's just finish up this eyebrow. And then let's try being extra. So she said to take a lighter than your skin tone concealer for underneath, and then obviously match your skin tone on top. So I'm gonna go in with this shade. It looks like it's the lightest one. And I'm just gonna, we're going old school YouTube today. Just a little bit. And I'm gonna flip it over and I'm gonna do the other shade. It looks pretty close to my actual skin tone. I don't know if there's enough of a difference because my skin is so light. I think this works better when there's a little more contrast in skin tone, but I'm just gonna quickly do the other one, and then we're gonna jump into this gorgeous eyeshadow palette. Everything's done with my brows. I'll admit, I'm not sure if I'm gonna go through the whole concealer carving process every time I put on my makeup, but I think it makes a little bit of a difference. I'll keep you posted on that. This is the beautiful new Nars palette. I'm pretty sure it's called the Unrated. Yes, Summer Unrated palette. I would say maybe underrated. This is a beautiful palette. It has so many options. I think it's nice that there are so many different finishes, a lot of neutrals, some metallics, some glitter, some mattes, some satins, pinks, all the things. Wow, I just heard my Chicago accent just kick in there. And I like that the pans aren't huge because it's kind of realistic to expect that you're not gonna get through all the shades. So I'd rather have some slightly smaller shadow pans with more color options. And I also think this is very user-friendly because there are so many different colors. Whether I do a colorful eye or stick with my usual neutral, I always start with a neutral background, so to speak, a foundation. So I'm gonna go in with this lightest shade in the corner there. And if you hear noises, my brand new refrigerator freezer is finally making ice. Whoop, that's a little more pigmented than I expected. Let me just blend. Look how easily that blends, even though I mistakenly added too much. So you have to have the refrigerator for, I think it's 3 days before you turn on the ice maker. It's been longer than that, but we kind of forgot. So it is now running the water into the ice machine as I'm sitting here. See how nicely that blended? Wow. Same on the other side. I really just want to go in with this beautiful pink shade. I think it is called Summer Moon. I will admit that's what drew me to the palette when I saw it on the website. I really loved the limited edition palette Nars did last fall. The Climax palette, I think it was the beautiful greens, olive tones. This is a very wearable shade of pink. I do feel like you get more shimmer payoff if you apply it with a finger, and I feel that way for all metallic shimmery shades. We may do more with that shimmer, but I'm gonna go into the outer corner and I am actually gonna go with shimmer. Right next to Summer Moon, this is Bad Intentions. I have no bad intentions. I'm just gonna go in with a smaller brush and just kind of dip that in the corner just to deepen it up a little bit. I've also done this same look, but instead used a more brown tone in the outer corner if I want something a little more neutral. Look at that, woo! And if I want to soften all this pink, I can at the end go back and add some of those mid-tone browns in the palette. Let's just see where we're going with this. What I like about this palette is I feel like the colors look nice on pale skin. Normally when you're working with these pinks and lighter skin, I can look like an albino rabbit. I don't feel like that's the case here, but it also is gonna look beautiful on deeper skin, really pop, especially on deeper skin tones. So I feel like this particular palette works well with a lot of skin tones. To balance things out a little bit, I need to do something under the eye. So I am actually gonna go in with one of the browns. I don't want my whole eye lined in pink. I'm gonna go with the second one down. It has warm undertones, but it's just not one of the plummy pinks either. I think I'm actually gonna go in with my fluffy brush and that first crease color and just gently go over the edge here. Can you see the difference between this one and this one? I hope you can. I'm pulling it up a little bit higher, almost like a transition, and then just along the edges, because I don't want to lose all of that plumminess. I love it, it's so pretty. Now, just to be extra, because I like to do that, I'm gonna take from the top row, it's upside down for me though, this shade, which is called Orgasm. It's definitely more of a peachy pink, and I'll pop this right in the middle, just for some extra fun. It's just a little more dimension. If you really wanted it to pop in that middle, then I would have gone with more of the champagne-y gold there in the middle, but all right, I am just gonna clean up some of these edges a little bit. You can always dip your brush, I'm gonna get a clean one, into your powder. You wanna clean up the edges. And then I always like to take my fingers, I'm sure this is not recommended, and I just like to kind of sweep it up a little bit. When you have hooded eyes and old eyes, you want everything going up, not down. All right, before we move on to mascara, I finally got more of the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. When I told y'all a few weeks, or maybe it's been a few months now, this one came in #1 above all the other setting sprays. You loved this one, and I will admit it's really good. I forgot how good it is. It's a pump, but it comes out almost like an aerosol. Like it sprays for a while. Check this out. See? I always forget to do this before I put on my mascara, and then I do it and then my mascara gets wet, so that's not good. All right, curling the lashes. Lash primer first. The Lancome lash primer, still my favorite. I do lower lashes first. Thought the eyes were done, but I'm looking at them and they are quite pink. So I haven't worn liner in a while, but I'm starting to slowly bring in the concept. I'm just taking a very small liner brush and the darkest shade here, and I'm just gonna very lightly pull that across my lash line. Probably better to have done that before mascara. It is very subtle. It is probably not something you're gonna see through the camera, but in person, when I shut my eyes especially, or look down, just gives a little tiny definition, and it breaks up all that pink, and it makes the lash line look a little fuller. All right, let's do lips really quickly. So continuing my newest obsession with color, I wanted to try this new to me Dior, it's one of the Dior's, Dior Addict, I think. It's a lip shine or something like that. It very much reminds me of the old school YSL. Is it the Pure Rouge Couture, the really slick, slippery lipsticks? And I went with number 373, which is a very, I think it's something rose. It's pretty bright pink. It feels so nice. So it's pretty glossy. It's rosy pink. It's not like this bright, bright pink. It's not going to last a long time, I'm gonna tell you that right now, because it's so slippy and glossy and shiny. You are gonna have to reapply, but it feels so nice when you do it. It's worth it. Plus, I feel like this packaging is so pretty and so iconic to pull out of your bag. And then lastly, I'm gonna do something I don't normally do. I'm gonna finish this with a fragrance. So a while back, I talked to you about something that was sort of a dupe. I think it was when I was talking about my favorite scents. And if you've missed that, I'll link that up there. And I was talking about how I love the Baccarat 540. It's very expensive, of course. I always love the most expensive. I just don't know why that happens. And one of the sales associates at Nordstrom was telling me that the man who designed the Baccarat 540 fragrance also designed this one. It's Burberry Her. Very similar. They're not exact dupes of each other. This is more like a fraternal twin. But I have been looking for a new spring summer fragrance, something that's a little bit lighter than all the heavier scents that I love, like Tom Ford Lost Cherry, like the Baccarat 540, the Carolina Herrera Good Girl is a little heavy. I tried this in store and I loved it, immediately bought it. And then they sent me home with like, this isn't even all of them, like 8 million samples, which is very sweet. So I'm gonna spray a little of this on. And I know it's hard to describe a scent through the camera, but if you know what I like already and you like those scents, but you want something just a little less heavy, something that's a little more maybe daytime appropriate, I think you're really, really gonna like the Burberry Her. It still has that warmth and that sweetness to it, but I just feel like it's lighter, and it's the only way I can describe it. Here's the finished look. It's been a lot of fun. I am really enjoying playing with color. I am sure I will have more looks to share with you with this palette. There's just so many things you can do. This is obviously a very pink look, but I can go all browns and neutrals as well. I'll probably do that more as like an Instagram live and throw it over on Instagram, or just a quick tutorial over there. So be sure you're following me on Instagram as well as here, so you don't miss that. Thank you again to Nordstrom for sponsoring this video. Thanks to all of you, more importantly, for making these opportunities happen. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.